Okay, we are on page 1, solving for y. Okay, so steps for solving for y. This isn't necessarily algebraically correct, but it's just a little rhyme for you to help you remember how to solve for y. And this is only if x and y are on the same side. That's called standard form. So if it's in standard form, this is the way we solve for y. We move the x, change its sign, divide by the number in front of the y, and don't forget to simplify. So let me give you a few seconds to get that down. Go ahead and pause the video at this time so that you can copy it down. Okay, so letter A says, or the problem reads, negative 2x minus 4y is equal to 8. So we're going to follow these steps. Step 1 says to move the x. So I'm going to circle this negative 2x and I'm going to switch it to the other side. Well, when it goes to the other side, it has to change. That's kind of like when you add a number, or if the number's a subtraction, you have to add it to the other side, or if it's addition, you have to subtract. So this is why you have to change the sign. So here it's a negative number, so on this side it becomes a positive. So we've done step 1 and 2. Step 3 says to divide by the number in front of the y. Well, some of y'all will make the mistake of not realizing that this is technically a negative 4. So since it is a negative 4, that's what we're going to divide everything by. Okay, and the last step is don't forget to simplify. So when we simplify, you got to keep in mind that this will reduce and you're left with just plain old y, which is what we want. 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. And then when you reduce 2 divided by negative 4, that's just really 1/2, but it's a negative 1/2. So if you wanted to write it in slope-intercept form, technically it would be written like this. Okay, the negative 1/2 is still negative. The negative 2 is still negative. It just reads a little bit different. So either one of those is correct. I would accept either one as an answer. Okay, so let's look at letter B. Letter B says 3x minus y is equal to 7. And again, we're going to follow these 4 steps. Move the x. So the x is currently a positive 3y. When we move it to the other side, it becomes a negative 3x. Now we've changed its sign. The next step is to divide by the number in front of the y. The number in front of the y is a negative 1. I don't know if y'all remember this, but if there's not a number in front of a variable, there's an imaginary 1 there. So we're going to divide everything by negative 1. So I'm going to skip this step on here, and I'm just going to go automatically to standard form. Slope-intercept form. And I'm going to divide the x first. So negative 3 divided by negative 1, that's 3x. And then 7 divided by negative 1, that's negative 7. So there's my answer. And again, if you wanted just to go here and say this is negative 7 and positive 3x, you could do that too. Either answer is correct. Alright, so letter C reads 8x plus y is equal to 2. So again, we're going to move the x, and the x is a positive 8x. So when it comes to the other side, we're going to write it a negative 8x. So we've done step 1 and 2. Step 3 says to divide by the number in front of the y. Well, the number in front of the y is positive this time. It's a positive 1. So I don't have to go any further. Could I divide by negative 1? Yes. I'm sorry, could I divide by 1? Yes. You're just going to get the same thing that you started with, which is why I just wrote this in slope-intercept form. So the slope is before the y-intercept. Again, you could leave it the other way too. Okay, last problem. Letter D. 7x minus 3y is equal to 16. Now, in recent years, I don't know if y'all noticed, but these numbers kind of worked out nice. When I divided these two numbers, it came out to a nice fraction. When I divided these two numbers, it came out to a whole number. Same thing here. The numbers came out pretty, if you will. But in recent years, the EOC test, for some reason, the numbers haven't worked out so pretty. So I want to show you that it's okay for you to get a weird fraction. Okay, so first step, move the x. So 7x minus 3y is equal to 16. It's a positive 7, so I need to move it to the other side. So really have a negative 7x. So I moved it, I changed its sign. Now I have to divide by the number in front of the y. Well, the number in front of the y is negative 3. Okay, so if I were to divide 16 divided by negative 3, I get a decimal. So I would just do math, enter, enter, and it gives me the fraction negative 16 over 3. So I have y equals negative 16 divided by 3. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the other number. So negative 7 divided by negative 3. Again, I get a decimal. So I'm going to press math, enter, enter. And if you look, it's just a positive 7/3. So this would be plus 7/3 x. So if you want, again, you can write it in slope-intercept form, where the x would go first, or the x term would go first, and then the slope and then the y-intercept. Either answer is correct. All right. So again, that's how you solve for y.